Hello, everyone, and welcome in. My name is Bryce Koon. We're getting ready to talk college football. The best coaches in their first year at that program, their first year in the program in 2023. We're going to grade them. Next week, we're going to take a look at the 2024 guys. This year is all 2023 on tonight's episode of The Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bryce Koon. We welcome you in to tonight's show, Crowded Booth. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like the video. We have had tons of people watching on Twitter. We'd love for you to follow us over there on social media and come over and hang out with us on YouTube as well. Thanks for the folks in the Discord. Ralph, we'll just go ahead and add you guys in here. We can start doing that, and I'll let you. I'll let you. You do that.
Since Will and I both can control everything now, you don't have to do anything.
Okay. I won't do anything. That's fine.
I have been given the power.
Yeah. No live show tomorrow night, by the way.
And I've already let it go to my head, just so you know.
It's okay. Loaded show tonight. We might go over an hour. And Will might take up 45 minutes of that talking about Hugh.
If you let me talk, we're definitely going over an hour.
I wanted to preface this. We're going to talk just about what tonight's show is. It's kind of just our grades, old school style, like A to an F. Zach Arnett being an F of, first year head coaches at that position, at that job. That's SEC.
If you know,
SEC.
you know.
If you know, you know. If you're at a tailgate that we'll never be invited back to, you know.
If you know, you know.
You know. We cannot wait to talk a little college football with you here tonight. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you check out with us all the content we got coming. And let's get it rolling. First off, we're starting the show off with a new segment. Last Thursday, we talked about, Will, it was a question of the day. On Monday nights, a lot of people do, Freak of the Week. They do, a Moron of the Morning. I have decided to do Pet Peeve of the Week. And here's my pet peeve. Ralph, you can throw it up there. I want to explain the parameters of what this is, okay? These two guys have no clue what I'm getting at here, all right? But this is what I got here. And, hey, Grandma, I appreciate it. This is what we're getting to. Pet peeve of the week. Now, listen. I am all for people utilizing things near them and what they need to do. By the way, I snapped this picture, I believe it was Saturday night. This is, folks, a young child, a wife, a girlfriend, a significant other, whatever it might be. And it is a grown man riding around into this thing completely able-bodied. Now, listen, I don't know about you. Dr. Bob says Happy Monday. I don't know what his professional opinion is. This is my pet peeve. Do not take up these things and ride around. And you might be thinking, Bryce, that's a little bold of you. You don't know if this man is able-bodied. No, I do, because I sat there and watched this man play around with his child for about 20 minutes around the store and just messing around. They got, those ball pits they used to have at Target. He's sitting there like throwing the ball at him or whatever. And then this man just hops on this thing and goes around the store. This is the comment of the night already. They're meant for obese people of Walmart. Didn't they make a South Park episode about this?
Yes, they did.
They might have.
Yes, they did, Dr. Bob. Yes, they did.
So this is my pet peeve of the week. I've nominated this. This is what I'm rolling with. And unfortunately, there are people who like to do this. So if you can snap a picture in public, send it to us over at thecrowdedbooth@gmail.com if you've got a pet peeve of the week. Will and Ralph are going to start to find things in nature. Ralph is going to have a ton of fun of this. Ralph, we might have to have a whole segment just about Ralph's UPS moment of the week. I mean, we might just have to have that because it's
there was one or two or three at least a day yet last week. So
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Maxwell says, I just read about a man from the 1800s who weighed 1,000 plus pounds and still walked unaided. It can be done. It can be done. All right. We appreciate you hanging out on tonight's show. Before we get started, I do want to shout out the people who, I just want to say this. Presenting sponsor of our college football show is obviously Cook's Place, best scrambled dog you can find in town in Columbus, Georgia. The people who, I don't know if you guys knew this, broke into Cook's place. And what kind of people we talking about here? Like just a good old boy establishment trying to serve the people. And I don't know what the deal is with that. That made me wrong. So shout out Roy Cook. Go check it out if you're in the Columbus, Georgia area. Fantastic. Let's start off here too. We talked about hair products last Thursday. Ralph, Will is like, what the heck is going on for the first 6 minutes of the show?
Why was it? What?
Yeah, we did. Garnier Fructis all the way. Ralph, what'd you have for dinner tonight?
I had my factor meal.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
Some Parmesan chicken with broccoli.
Man's got his volume on his microphone.
I have, I subscribe to the same meal plans that Ralph does. Had that the other day. Delicious. Delicioso, as some of the children might form it. I had we made some burgers tonight. Hashtag not an ad, but Hunter's Pub sauce goes great on just about everything, and but hashtag not an ad. But so that's what we have. And then finish it off. The wife made a fantastic blueberry cheesecake, and it is phenomenal. So it was, and she's pregnant too. She's 30 weeks pregnant. So we got 10 more weeks, ladies and gentlemen. What are we going to do over the summer? Like, what are we going to do? Watching this, eating a Costco hot dog. Yes. Yes.
Oh, hands down.
Top 5 food deal. Yes.
What we'll do over the summer? I don't know. It's going to be me and Will only.
Yeah, I'm kind of, because here's the conundrum. I don't want to lose.
If you want Will and I to run
momentum.
the show, please tell us in the comments, please.
Yeah,
if
we
you
might
say
have,
no,
you guys
you're
might have to run
irrelevant
it for a little
anyway,
bit.
That's fine. I think we can handle that.
Okay.
We won't sit here for 7.5 minutes talking about what we ate and people just being regular people at Target, people living their own lives at Target.
I mean,
Well, it's my pet peeve. While you're pretending it's Mario Kart at 1 a.m. after a couple, it's okay. I appreciate that.
I agree.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's actually dive into the topic conversation. Now, tonight's show is really what we're talking about here is reflecting on 2023 and what these coaches did with that program and kind of some of maybe the early recruiting, because for a lot of these guys brought in, that wasn't their first initial class, that 2023 class. 2024 was. And so we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about several names. We got a long list of names of guys that we're going to go through. We got some honorable mentions as well, especially, some group of 5 standouts. But without further ado, Ralph, let's roll the first name up there. Let's talk Deion Sanders in Colorado. Now, I want to start off with this. We're not ranking. This is not 1 through 10. We're grading. Some people have already gotten the comments and said ranking. I thought this was a smart fan base that we had. Unfortunately, it's not. It's grading.
I thought you knew better than that.
I did. That's on me. Hand up.
Hand up.
Rap, just go ahead and say it one time for it.
No, I'm not saying.
Just go ahead and do it for us one time.
Do it later.
All right, do it later. All right. Make sure you like the video. All right, we're talking Deion Sanders. Let's
wait.
Can't wait to watch Will
Bailey. It is coming.
absolutely crapping on him for the next 45 minutes. Oh, this is why he's a part of the show. Hello, brother.
Right here, brother.
Tuesday. Okay. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. 10 minutes into the show, we're here. Folks over at the radio station in Nooner and be like, what the heck am I listening to? Is this an episode or what are they doing? Okay. Deion Sanders. Let's really talk about this because, guys, I sit in the fact of like, if you want to say pass or fail, like I think he passed because I think at the very least of what Deion Sanders did at Colorado, and we don't have to spend 400 hours talking about this, you got him into some type of conversation. You generated interest in this program that was not there. I mean, this was the worst FBS program just about in college football over the past couple of years, and they have been very, very bad over the past 5, 6, 7, almost decade now. So they've been very bad. How do you guys feel? We'll go to you on Deion Sanders of Colorado. We're not talking about is he going to win a national title. Just year one, I feel like he did a good job generating interest. There's an obvious need of, talent accumulation still at Colorado. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that. I would give him a C. On-field success,
didn't do so great. They started off hot and fell off at the end of the year. Fell off really hard at the end of the year. But like you said, he generated interest in the program. He brought in a big influx of talent, and still bringing it in. You know, his philosophy is completely different than everybody else, so it's hard to kind of predict what they're going to look like, and it's hard to predict what he's going to do, what his program's going to look like. But yeah, for year one, I think it was solid. You know, obviously with the start they had, you would want to do better than 4-8.
Yeah.
But I mean, you said it. Colorado was irrelevant. They were in the gutter. I mean, nobody was talking about them, but they are now because of Deion.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like when you look at what they were able to do in terms of the high-profile matchups. I mean, they were in that national time slot each and every single year, and this guy right here says the same thing. First few weeks, he was college football. I mean, they dominated the college football media scene. Now, look, a lot of people.
Insane.
Oh, yeah, and look,
Yeah.
we don't even talk about the fact that TCU wasn't good like this
They
past
weren't
year.
TCU from 2022. I mean, it's
No.
just true.
But the excitement, the media attention, that matters. And I'll tell you one thing that matters, folks, and it's a reason they got, what is the Big 12 commissioner's name? It starts with a Y, right? What's his name? Someone Google that. Big 12 commissioner was excited about Colorado because of brand value. Colorado hits the nail on the head, and winning has to happen, of course. But I'm with
your
you.
mark.
Your mark. Gotcha. Yeah, I have to say the same thing. Well, I'm going C because they collapsed towards the end of the season, but I think just generating conversation, generating buzz, generating electricity around the program that hadn't been there. Great job on Deion for doing that. And obviously, all eyes are going to be on this program in year 2 to see what he can do. Ralph, you're great on this.
Well, I just want to pull up this stat real quick. Not really a stat, but the most watched college football games this past year, Colorado appeared in 6 of those games last year out of 50 of them.
Wow.
Being number 3, 7. I can't see that. 18. I mean, the Colorado Oregon game was 10.3 million people watching.
Mm.
I mean, and Oregon beat them by a drum. I mean, yeah, they went 4-8.
Yeah.
They won one conference game, but the transfer portal they pull in every year in year out. The recruiting class they pull in year in year out. I don't think they really care if they go 4-8. The revenue they're bringing in off this TV, the views and the ticket pricing, they're killing it. Now,
Yeah.
they're going to eventually make a bowl game. I mean, if not next year, but the year after that, they're going to get better. I don't think Deion's a coach that's going to just, get beat up for the next 3 years. I think they show up eventually. I think I agree with y'all. C, that's just where you have to put it right now. The first year was just kind of, when they hit conference play, it just went downhill. The one win, and just and the one I really think about the most was that Stanford game. I mean, you had them beat at halftime. They came out and whooped you in the second half, and then beat you in overtime. I mean, you couldn't stop one receiver. I mean, that one receiver had like 290 yards. Yeah, I mean, like that stuff right there. That shouldn't happen in games. So, I give them a C. I might even put a C minus, just the sheer fact that there's games they should have won and they just blew it. So
yeah.
You also had major staff turnover once the season ended.
Even within the year, really.
Yeah, a lot of bad press with that too.
Yeah.
But
the Colorado State game was 9.3 million people on ESPN.
Yeah.
If you asked,
and that was a 10 o'clock. That was like 11 o'clock Eastern start, by the way.
If you asked me last year how many people watched that game, like from 2022, I promise you, it's probably nowhere close to 500,000. Nowhere close.
I'd be cool.
I mean, I should have 500. I should have said like maybe 1,000 on TV at least.
I'd say over 1,000, but 500,000 is. I mean, it's more because what constitutes a view?
Million? I mean, that's a ton, dude.
Wanted to get this comment right here. Singh says, "Is it really Colorado's brand value that went up, or is it Deion? If Deion leaves, where does that leave Colorado national attention wise?" Agreed. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's Colorado's doing this by themselves. No, it's the fact they brought in Deion Sanders.
Right.
But it does increase Colorado's brand. It is because Deion is going to make. This is the thing, and people hate on Deion for this or whatever. Wherever Deion is, he engrosses himself where he is. Now, whether people like it or not that he left Jackson State, folks, we're just going to be honest with ourselves. Nobody. I could have probably talked to 10 people and 2 might have known where Jackson State was. Like, seriously. And that's people in the Southeast. So, but Jackson State became a brand with him. And so it goes together. So not at all trying to say that Colorado's brand value is independent of Deion. No, but that's part of what makes Deion as a head coach. So I like it. And I think we all agree there, C, as well. And then he also says here, slip in that 6-6 would have been super difficult for guys. You can't move the field goal on expectations once they started winning. What was their over-under win total last year? Like 2?
3.5.
Yeah, 3.5, I think.
3.5. They exceeded it. So, great to them. It's a team that won 1 game the prior year. Like, anything more than 1 win would have been a plus. That's true, Austin. Especially while you're down in a, sucky now. Is that from, was that Thursday's show or last Monday's show?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
Over 100 people watching, and we're sitting here talking about sucky. I don't know what that means. All right, so Deion, we all feel comfortable with that C grade. Let's move on to the next name here, and this is one.
I'm just gonna Bryce. I'm gonna hit it, and then I'm just gonna put them on by myself, and we're gonna walk away. Okay.
Well, let me give my grade. Let's give our grades, and let's just give it to Will.
All right. Well, we'll
cool?
just do this. Hold on real quick. We'll just.
All right, Hugh Freeze. I'm gonna go with a C minus. That's my grade.
I'm gonna go C plus, just because of the recruiting standard that happened.
Okay, cool.
Recruiting class, just because of that. Now we bring him back, and then we'll see you.
We'll see you in a little bit, folks.
Yeah, I actually agree with Bryce. C minus. Obviously when Hugh came in, the roster was nowhere near where it needed to be in the SEC, far below the standard. He brings in Peyton Thorne, which even as up and down as he wasn't upgraded at the position at quarterback over Robbie Ashford, over TJ Finley. But inconsistency, that was kind of the theme of his first season. You look at a lot of stinkers in there. In my opinion, the LSU game may have been the worst of all. I mean, to be defeated after the first quarter, that can't happen. The standard at Auburn seems to me, as an Auburn fan, to maybe taking a half step back in year one under Hugh Freeze. Just some of the body language, some of the things he said, obviously could be because clashing with Philip Montgomery, the ex-offensive coordinator, and now he brings in his guy. I have to wait and see. But last year it was really bad. Had the stinker against LSU. Ole Miss felt like a game Auburn could have won, but kind of messed around, kind of went through the motions, didn't have that heart that you want to see, especially for a home SEC night game that Auburn doesn't get a ton of. But they just kind of felt like they didn't show up. Obviously the highlights were playing Georgia and Alabama so well at home, but not being able to finish those out. But nobody expected to even be in those games, so not a big deal. But then the bowl game against Maryland, an absolute embarrassment, and a bigger embarrassment, the game against New Mexico State. Utter embarrassments. Those can't happen. Obviously, Freeze, his first recruiting class goes top 10, which is a huge accomplishment. So things I think are looking up, but I mean, it feels like make or break going into year 2 for me. I think a lot of the way that Freeze has handled himself, some of the things he said publicly, are not going to sit well with the old money that runs Auburn. But I think, and you'll see the other coaches that we go through, I think Hugh Freeze is one of the best coaches, just pure football coaches. But Auburn's had 3 straight losing seasons. He won't be there long if he contributes to a 4th.
Yeah, I mean that's got to be like the big question, right? Like if they lose, if they go sub 500 again, and we'll talk about previews and stuff like that later in the year. But if they go sub 500 again, the pressures. I mean, you mentioned last week the pressure's on. I think the hot seat. If they go 6-6 or 5-7, let's fire up the hot seat conversation. Like 2025 is make or break.
If he goes 5-7, he's gone. That's what I think is going to happen, and that's people with a lot more money and a lot more power.
Yeah.
Than me going to make that decision and make that happen. But I think he's gone if he doesn't even make a bowl game.
Well, and I'll talk about this too. Just why we have why we have him at a C minus.
You've mentioned recruiting in the trenches has not been great. That's just been something that has not been great. And then
and it's not
also,
just him.
too,
It's been subpar at Auburn for a while.
yeah, it's not. In fairness, not like you said, not just typical of what he does and what he brings to the table. I'll also add the fact of like I was obviously there for the Auburn LSU game. Completely looked unprepared, outmatched.
Coming off a bye week.
Yeah, that was bad. That was really, really bad. And I'm with you. The words too, like when things go well. Yeah, I was in the room with the game plan. I was doing this, doing that, and then you turn around and you have the conversation when you lose of that offensive scheme didn't work, and you're turning over 2 brand new coordinators. So maybe things are trending up. Cam Coleman apparently is looking unbelievable in spring ball. Does that translate to the fall? That can obviously help. Hugh Freeze better than Brent Key is what Bailey says.
There we go. Go ahead.
Dr. Bob says this Auburn should be 4-0 heading into a massive game against Oklahoma and Jordan Hare on September 28th.
You would hope so. Play ACC front runner Cal in those first 4 games.
Oh boy, Zach McKenna and Sunday MOT for like 3 to 4 seasons. It's been embarrassing.
Yes.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Very much.
That has been. All right, so we all kind of said it. C,
and
C
you know,
minus.
Yeah, to add on to that, it was not a good first year in the portal for Hugh Freeze at all.
No, it was not.
Almost everybody was a miss. I think Thorne, it's not fair to say he was a miss. But all the wide receivers, just about every wide receiver they brought in was a miss. So the portal was not kind to Hugh Freeze in year 1. And in my opinion, he has not done enough in the portal to make sure year 2 is going to be better.
Yeah, I understand that.
No, that's fair.
I think that there have been clear upgrades out there, and to all the reporting, it sounds like Auburn just was not interested in those.
I think that Cam Ward really was the problem that they didn't get. They didn't really go after him.
How about the kid from Liberty that played for Freeze?
Also, well,
how do you miss that?
Well, that's the major thing, right? That's the fact they don't have a business. They don't have a sports management degree, right?
So I mean,
I don't even think that became. I don't know that became a discussion. He was in the portal for a day, visited Auburn, and went back out of the portal and went back to Liberty the next day.
It had his major and was all right, never mind.
Dr. Bob says Riley Leonard was another miss. He feels like. Zach says also Auburn lost every single player in the 2021 recruiting class outside of Jarquez Hunter. That should never happen in an SEC program. Very fair. Very fair. All right. So Hugh Freeze, Ralph, well, you only took like 7 or 8 minutes, but you did good. You did good. So sorry for the people that tuned in specifically for that, but hey, we got a good number of people watching. Guys, does it make you nervous when you see that number in the top left corner that there's more people than normal watching?
No.
Nah, I'm good.
No, I will say this: it feels good. I'll tell you one thing, man. Folks are now outperforming the tech fans, and I don't know what it is.
Good.
I can't tell you what's going to happen in the future.
I think they were promised some fireworks, and I may have let them down.
You let me down. I'll let you know.
You
that.
let me down.
You let me down tremendously.
Let's go to the next name on the list. Next name on the list.
Fun. This one should be a ton of fun.
Brent Key at Georgia Tech.
C+.
Guys, this is okay. Like this one for me, having watched the program where it was the previous 3 or 4 seasons, and having watched the job that he did, I think, and I know people are like top five, whatever. I'm not even trying to like do a rankings. We might talk after this and put out a graphic on social, of our top 5 first-year head coaches last year. But for me, Brent Key, man, like I'm going to go solid B. I feel between a B- and a B. Like that's where I feel comfortable because you got back to a bowl game, massive. Like you had to do that, and you have done a good job recruiting, in terms of being present where other people were not present in different schools around Georgia. Popular to what Twitter groups want to tell you that I say. I've never said that. Man, it'd be great to just bring out that screenshot, wouldn't it? It'd just be so great.
That should be my pet peeve of the week.
That should have been my pet peeve of the week. But for Brent Key at Georgia Tech, like you get back to a bowl game, you're positioning yourself to be in the top half of the ACC. That's a positive. So for me, you found ways to win. Brent Key
look, Georgia Tech's a unique job. It's a unique spot to be. If Brent Key is going to be the guy there, man, Tech fans are excited about it. And I think they should be because of what he can potentially build and trying to, guys, really just establish a foundation where it was just, going through the wilderness for 3 or 4 years at that program. So I really like the job that Brent Key did. I might feel comfortable slotting him as like the 4th or 5th best coach in the first year. I'd have to go back and look at the full list. We might do that afterwards, like I said. But for me, Brent Key sits between B- and a B. I'll go solid B. Gets to a bowl game and wins it. Will, your thoughts?
I'm actually going to go B-. Like you said, that Georgia Tech is a very unique job. I think Key will be, moving forward, be a little bit handcuffed by the limitations of Georgia Tech and all that goes with that. But he did a solid job. Bowling Green is obviously a very, very bad mark on him in year one. But you have the win against Miami, albeit it was a gift, but you still got the ball back and you still had to go 60 yards with no time on the clock hardly, and you found a way to score.
Still had to execute.
Yep. You beat North Carolina. I know the last guy did that, so people are kind of discrediting that. I think that's a big deal. So very solid. B-, I think.
Yeah, Bill.
Yeah, tell him, Bill.
Yeah.
Tell him, Bill.
Yeah.
What's up, brother?
Yeah.
No, I agree. I will say this, Will. This is the calling card. This is why folks wanted Brent Key at Georgia Tech, because what you just mentioned, the potential limitations and limitations is a word that gets people in their feelings, but the challenges that job entails, like he gets that, and I think that's the biggest thing for them. Like having a guy that completely understands what it means to be a Georgia Tech man, but what it means to be a student athlete there, that helps a lot for a unique job like Georgia Tech is.
And very competitive against Georgia at the end of the year. That's something
they were. Yeah.
Tech has not been able to say for several years. So I think that's a feather in his cap for year one.
Yeah, and I like the fact that he mentioned, I know you guys don't pay much attention to it, but he did in one of his early interviews for spring ball, he mentioned that, hey, momentum can carry over, you establish it, but last year means nothing. And we got to have it's a clean slate. And that's kind of that rah-rah old school mentality that he has from the Nick Saban, from the George O'Leary years, that I think these fans really like the no nonsense approach. And I think that's a good for a place like Georgia Tech. So I'll say this, and I'll even throw this out here. Palmer Toms has confirmed this multiple times, Georgia writer. Kirby seems to respect Key. Hands down. Yeah, he does. And man, I think I think it was a good hire, and I think we look back at it, 1 year later, and this is obviously another pivotal year. So I go B. Will goes B-. Ralph, your grade.
I'm going B- also. I will not say C+, as I was jokingly earlier. There's a lot of games you should have won, and there's a lot of games you should have lost. I know that's just not really a statement you want to say, but you should have beaten Louisville. You blew it in the second half. You lost in the fourth quarter against Ole Miss. You got slapped by Bowling Green at home. You shouldn't have beat Miami. You got beat by Boston College. You shouldn't have beat North Carolina. You get destroyed by Clemson. And you hung in there with Georgia. You look back at that. Okay, they went 7-6. What a bowl game! Great year. That's a win. But can you add on from next year? I don't know. I give them B-. I just don't think it was. I thought they could have done better.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, and I think
Bryce,
the biggest thing too. That was just wild. I do agree, and let's throw up Maxwell's comment real quick because that's what brings the grade down. I think you guys would be more comfortable putting a B. I'd be more comfortable going B+. Those two games, and all that is consistency, and a lot of that you can chalk up to. This is his first full year doing this. He is a first-time head coach. He served as an interim at UCF for just a tad, a small portion. But this is his first time being the CEO of a program, and so if that's fixed, then we start to call next year they're improved B+, maybe A- type of year.
And I forgot about that Louisville game. We were there for that.
Yeah.
His first real game as the head coach.
They scored,
forgot about
one
that.
touchdown in the second half. Was it right?
Man, they were on fire in the second quarter, and then they ruined your guys' nights.
28-13 at halftime. He scored 4 touchdowns in the second quarter, and went on scored 6 points in the fourth quarter. That was it.
Yeah.
Brent Key. That game right there really set the tone for that season. I thought at first was this is going to be a nightmare if they can't win a game in the conference play at first.
Yeah.
And then they also beat Wake Forest in a great win. They get the lucky win against Miami. And then you beat North Carolina again, which I don't know what's wrong with North Carolina. They just cannot beat Georgia Tech. It's just a fun.
North Carolina. There's some crazy stat. North Carolina hasn't.
They
can't beat Georgia Tech. Like they haven't beat Georgia Tech in Atlanta. I want to say since the late '90s. Like it's a nuts stat. Like it's crazy.
Hey, don't worry. He who must not be named is going to fix that.
His name's Gene Chizik. He's gone. But now who's there?
No.
Jeff Collins.
No.
The great Jeff Collins is there.
Oh,
he will lead him to the promised land.
He who must not be named is going to fix that UNC defense.
Louis says to me, the contrast between what came before and his program bumps is great. Of course. I think just looking within the scope of 2023, that's where for me it's a B. It was a year like Ralph said, and I'll end it here. It's a year like Ralph said. You very well could have gone 4-8. You very well could have gone 9-3. I mean, when you really look at that schedule, how it goes, and you're a middle of the road program right now, so you got to become more consistent to kind of get into that. UNC beat us with Sam Howell in 2019. Before that was 97. Dr. Bob was at Wake Forest. That was a cathartic win after the past 3.5 seasons.
Yeah, that doesn't count. They had an NFL quarterback.
We've had that for the past couple of years. Former Vikings quarterback Drake May. How you guys feel about that?
Former?
Future. I'm sorry. Future Minnesota quarterback. Not Kirk O'Chains. All right, let's move on to the next name, and let's roll. Yeah. Kenny Dillingham at Arizona State. Now let's take a step back here because this is a name where, for me, Arizona State was a dumpster fire. Like, you had to understand what this was. I think Dillingham is a good coach. I think he's a good recruiter. I think he's great for a spot like Arizona State. They go 3-9 in that first year. They started 1-6, and then they finished 2-3 through their final 5 games. So you could make the argument he built some momentum towards the end of the year. And I think overall, guys, it was a brutal schedule. You're joining the Big 12, this upcoming season. I'm going to go Dillingham. C, I'm okay with, because it's just like it was a hard job to begin with and a hard spot to be in. But Kenny Dillingham, for me, I don't know. I'm excited to see what he can do in year 2. I'll say that much. Will, your thoughts?
I'm going to go C+. You look at the top of the Pac-12, USC, Washington. They were very competitive with, gave Cal all they could handle too. Say what you want about Cal. They had a good defense last year. And they were able to beat UCLA on the road. So like you said, the end of the year, they finished off real well. And I'm going to go C+. Having to clean up the mess Herm Edwards left him. He's a first-time head coach, very young. But yeah, C+.
I'll also add this into here before we go over to you, Ralph. You brought in the 2024 cycle a top 50 recruiting class, so you're starting. You can kind of get your spot there, and a top 25 transfer class, and so they're starting to get in guys for his system. Dillingham did wonders with Bo Nix in his first year at Auburn, and then obviously up in Eugene as well. So whoever their quarterback is going to be in 2024, I almost said 5, but 2024. I was thinking 2025 cycle. 2024. You have a feeling like that's a guy who has turned a guy from raw athletic prospect, I would say, if that's fair, to Heisman contender. And at some point during that last season was a Heisman favorite. So I like Kenny Dillingham. I'm C. Will, you said C+. That's C+. What you're rolling with. Will, or Ralph, how do you fare on this side of things here?
I don't have much to say. I'm just going to say C, right in the middle. You start off winning the States to beat Southern Utah by 3 at home. That probably shouldn't have been even that close.
Yeah.
You lose 6 straight. You have an impressive win over Washington State. You get blown up by Utah. You go to UCLA, you win, and the wheels fall off. The last 2. Yeah, you get scoring 13 and 23, but you get beat 49-13 and 59-23 by your rival. It wasn't pretty, but he knew what he was going into. He knew this was not going to be the year to go 8-5, 6-6. They're going to take some punches, but it's to build up for next year. Everyone knew that's what they were going to do this year. So I'm going to see easily next year could be a B-, B+.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel like you can compete in the Big 12 and you can become part of that gauntlet and that
That's the
bloodbath
goal.
that the Big
That's
12
obviously the
is.
goal.
Yeah, that's what you want to do. I mean, just
You
just incremental steps.
Right. And obviously you're facing a lot of things you've been facing that come over with you to the Big 12. So, it's the sense of familiarity, and then you have teams that you probably never played, or you've only played a handful of times. So, it's a different world for them, but it's also something I think Dillingham can do really well and coach really well next year.
Yeah, like Kenny Dillingham. We'll see. Next name on the list, another kind of big name, made the jump, I believe, from the NFL down into the Big Ten, Ralph, if I'm right in that.
From Carolina Panthers.
Matt Rhule at Nebraska. I will say this, and this is why I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. When we incorporate these grades, not just based off of last season, but the momentum that you've created early in the 2024 recruiting cycle, what you were able to kind of finish out with, and then also kind of maybe some of the early transfer portal news that's coming out of spring ball. When I was looking at this, I was like, okay, C-. Like there were some expectations. They continue to kind of look the same. Guys, they lost a bunch of one close games, one score games. Like that continued from the previous regime. What I will say, the addition of Dylan Raiola, that's enough for it to bump from a D+, C- range to a middle of the road C for me, because I feel like for me if I'm incorporating part of that into my grade and what you wanted to do at Nebraska, you got to find your guy. Like that's just the biggest thing across college football. It's one of Will's biggest issues with Auburn. You have to identify your signal caller. It feels like for the future, Nebraska has done that. We don't know how he's going to pan out. I'm not saying he's the savior of the program, but they have gotten one of the top talents, if not the top talent in the country per many different sites. So I'm going C, solid C for the future of the program. I believe they finished 5-7, so just missed out on a bowl game last year. Will, your thoughts?
Man, I'm a lot higher on him than you are. I was going to go B+, but he took a flyer on Jeff Sims, so that's going to drop him down to a B. I mean, just awful, awful choice. You say they went 5-7. 5 of their losses were by one score. 3 to Iowa, 3 to Iowa at home, 7 at Wisconsin. The two close ones there. But you look at that roster, they really should not have been competitive. They lost a lot after Frost was fired. But to have them in 5 games, 10 games, actually. Yeah. Have them in 10 games, chance to win 10 games in year one. That's really good. I think Matt Rhule is a really, really good coach. Obviously a program builder. He's done it, did it at Temple, did it at Baylor. And he's certainly off to a great start doing it at Nebraska. So I'm going to go B.
You're muted, Bryce. Atta boy.
Gotta love it. I want to change mine just in terms of what I'm rolling with, because I looked at Raiola there, and I wanted to add top 25 class composite ranking for 24/7 Sports was a top 20 class. I'll go up to a C+. That for me, I'm sitting C+. That's all I got to say. Ralph, your thoughts?
I got B-. I think what he had to work with last year, just like what Will said, the roster there was just not competitive at all. But if you watch before the season started, they had some videos of Matt Rhule coaching and how he is in practice, and he did a really cool thing where he had the offense, the starting offense, go out there and said how many people are graduating next year and won't be here next year, like leave the field. And it was, it had, he just, moved it down. How many guys are returning next year? And it shows like, this is what I got to work for next year. He said, I'm coaching this year, but I'm also working for next year. So he has that mindset. He's like, yes, I know we're not going to be competing this year, but I'm preparing for next year and the years to come. So I think what he did this past year was good enough to get him a higher score. Now, if they just gotten blown out every game and just rolled over, obviously I put it like a D. But
yeah,
you competed. You won some games you probably shouldn't have won, but I thought at the end of the season was fun to watch Chubba Purdy out there and ball out for 2 games. It was fun.
True.
They lost both games they started, but it was exciting to watch. I mean, I don't know if anyone watched it. Will, you might have watched it. I don't know if I watched it. I don't know. We didn't watch it together, obviously, but the Iowa Nebraska game in the it was 13-10, and over was at
No, I don't think I watched
it. It was over was 24 and a half.
You said the word that can't be said.
I had to say it though, because that game right there showed that Nebraska they held them to only 13 points and scored 10. They had a chance to win the game against 17th ranked Iowa. So, I give them a B. I mean, a B minus. I think they got great upside, obviously, with bringing Rhule in. They're gonna be excited to watch next year, and I believe that.
I can't argue with the people that know more than me that make these recruiting rankings, but Dylan Raiola smells like a bust to me.
Oh yeah, I'm on that train.
He smells like bust.
I've heard some things about him, but
Ralph's talking to player personnel directors. Don't worry, Ralph's connected.
Hey, I talked to a Georgia player. And he said that he didn't talk to anybody. He just show up, act like he was all that, and leave. So,
this
is 5-star analysis right here.
I will say this though: week 2 next year, this upcoming season, or week 1 technically. Sorry, I think that's right. Nebraska and Colorado, Raiola versus Sanders, right?
If he's the starter,
I mean,
he's got to win the job.
Got to win the job.
I mean, if Chubba Purdy wins, obviously, I'll be excited. But
he's in Nevada.
Oh, is he transferred? Oh, darn.
Yeah, Ralph's a big Wolfpack stand now.
Nope, not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going C+. That's where I feel, and I will say this: I go C+ just because of this. He goes, no way that Richard Leary can give Rhule the same score as Key. Not because of Richard Leary reference, but more of because I think Key did a better job. Like they won and they got to 7 wins, and so that's why I got Key in that B- to B range. Rhule just right below C+. But you can make the
strength of schedule.
Who had the harder strength of schedule?
Probably Nebraska.
I would think Nebraska. I know Nebraska's in the Big Ten West, but the Big Ten is
they have to play Michigan, so that's
much better than the ACC.
Well, let's just see here. I got you right here. Let's look at this. Let's look.
But yes,
y'all keep talking.
At surface level, 5 and 7 in the Big Ten West does not look good. Doesn't look good.
5 and 7 with what he's brought in for next year, and then what they're building next year. What he had to deal with. I mean, I think I'll say this: Georgia Tech had way better a roster than what Nebraska had, by far. I mean, Haynes King's a better quarterback than Jeff Sims. Anyone can tell you that.
Jonesy says Tech 100%. In fact, it's Nebraska coming in at number 40, and Georgia Tech coming in at number 46 per this this ranking. So
Jonesy says Tech's strength of schedule was 6th in the nation last year.
I do believe that, and I do agree that I was actually surprised at that. I'm guessing they looked at it after the fact. I genuinely have no clue. I just Googled this, and so if someone has a link, throw it in the comments below. Would love to kind of dive into that because I have no clue. I was actually surprised because I firmly thought, well, you know what, Maxwell? What's a measly 6 spots? The difference between getting a playoff or not? That's what that is.
Ooh.
That's what it is, Maxwell. Brother. Let's go to the next one.
Brother.
Absolute just bad hire, I thought, when they made the hire. And I think this is a joke. Ugh. Like I think Cincinnati's done. Like I mean it in the idea of
can we just go ahead and get our grades and get it out of the way? D-.
Yeah, I'm going D.
F.
Like it's awful hire. It's just stupid. Awful. Like
terrible.
Cincinnati will, to me, under Scott Satterfield will, and let's clip it, Cincinnati fans, if you exist, will never be anything.
They're all Wisconsin fans.
More than a middling Big 12 program. Like I don't ever see them being a top 4 team.
They may upset one team every once in a while, and that might be it.
Yeah.
Their
Yeah.
starting quarterback. Do you know who the starting
F.
quarterback was this past year?
Desmond Ritter's little brother.
Nope.
Okay, I don't know.
Worse. Emory
Who?
Jones.
I forgot about that.
Houston, not Houston.
Oh gosh, I know it too. Hurd County.
He's from
Hurd
LaGrange,
County,
right?
Hurd County legend.
Hurd County.
Yeah, Hurd County legend. How do you lose to Miami, Ohio? Dr. Rob, how do you lose to Bowling Green? I don't know. I don't know. What is up with the MAC? The MAC is just, it's wild.
Mac's wild.
Ken Hendricks says they think Skyline Chili is good. They deserve mediocrity. Yeah, it's weird.
Oops.
Um,
Gavin says Desmond Ridder might as well put his name in the hat after his contract is over. Might as well.
M. Bailey 1977 says, I'm sure Louisville was happy. We're going to get to that in a second.
Oh, and they were irate when he left.
They
for
were.
Cincinnati. They were so mad.
They are. Like, okay, so we're all just going bad grades here. Just go to the next one. Is it Louisville, Ralph? Yeah. Or just put up Louisville. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Jeff Brohm. This is hands down. Like, and to me, this is the best.
A plus.
A plus. A plus.
From a culture fit. Yeah. Ding. Like, this is the guy. Louisville dude. Makes complete sense. This was a great hire. And I said this in the Tech Louisville preview. We mentioned all season long. Jeff Brohm is one of the more underrated in-game football coaches in college football. He's just a ball coach. Like, he is just a good football coach. I loved this hire, and it made sense, with him being a Louisville guy. His brother being, I believe it's the OC, right? His brother's the OC.
Yep.
His brother's the OC. I don't know, man. Louisville. They've positioned themselves. I mean, they went to an ACC title game. Like, what if you're Louisville? What more could you have wanted in year one? You were in the outside conversation of a playoff up until you lost that one regular season game. You were. So,
well, two.
Is it Louisville or Louisville? I think it's Louisville.
It's Louisville.
It's a mixture.
I got a family member that lives in Kentucky, and everything they say is they don't really enunciate things. They just kind of just blurt it out of their mouth. And so I'm going to go Louisville. They live in Pike. So Louisville. But yeah, Jeff Brohm. I mean, this if we're ranking, and we will do this after the fact, guys, we'll put a graphic out on social media. I think Jeff Brom's number one, like the number one first-year head coach at that school. Just unbelievable job. Any more thoughts on Jeff Brohm?
A plus. You win 10 games. We talked about it before the year. Their schedule is very manageable. Yeah. They were kind of everybody's pick to be the dark horse, and they lived up to that, which is tough to do in year one with a new head coach. You win 10 games. They average over 30 points a game, 5th in the ACC. They were number 12 in the ACC in 2022, so just a big 1 year jump. So yeah, but I think if you're Louisville, you play, the ACC, it's going to be different every year, right? There is no divisions, which that's kind of the norm now. So your schedule is going to be different every year. Don't expect this every year because their schedule in 2024 is going to be a lot tougher. But to win 10 in year one, play for the ACC title after a guy that they were upset that left, and the new guy comes in and does better than the old guy, you're in a really good spot.
Right.
I'll say this real quick. You mentioned 2024, it's going to be a harder schedule, but they had the number 5 ranked transfer class. And look, it's hard to hit year in and year out, but Louisville hit on that transfer class last year. Quarterback Tyler Shaw, I believe that's how you say his name, Shough from Texas Tech. Shaw, I don't know, whatever his name is. Ja'Cory Brooks.
Before that.
Ja'Cory Brooks. They bring in the receiver from Alabama. They flipped also an edge rusher from Tennessee, Tyler Barron, who was committed to Ole Miss. I mean, look, Louisville, he's got some things cooking. And what you're seeing, and our good old boy, Ralph, they brought in Johnny Mendoza, offensive tackle out of Yale, former youth pastor down there at Evangel. Yeah. So all that to say is, though, the guys you brought in around Jeff Brohm hit on evaluations. And that is what I think made them so good. Yes, the schedule was manageable. Yes, we knew Jeff Brohm. Jeff Brohm won at Purdue. He won at Purdue.
Had a lot of success.
And we're not even talking about Purdue's head coach because I'd throw up. But we're not going to talk about that program. We don't care to be friends of the program with them.
He's a first-time head coach. Ryan
He
Walters,
is,
young guy,
but-
really good defensive mind.
But he
Give us some
won. He won at Purdue. So I feel like Jeff Brohm has done a good job of acclimating to the new college football. That's the way I'll put it. Surrounding himself with the right guys as an old school guy to put himself in position for new college football. So I like Jeff Brohm.
If you have not seen that clip of him playing in the XFL, getting interviewed on the sideline,
unbelievable.
That makes you want to run through a wall. Like if you're a football guy, you need to see that clip.
And Jeff Brohm is a football guy. Like I feel comfortable saying that. He's a football guy. All right, let's keep rolling here through the last couple ones.
That's fine. I won't talk about it at all.
You gave him an A.
Oh, I thought you gave it an A.
That's okay. I did.
Luke Fickell.
It's fine.
Here we go.
I don't want to talk.
I think Wisconsin underachieved in year one under Luke Fickell. I'm going to go C+ because I think they could have been better. But Luke Fickell's another program builder, like you mentioned, Will. I mean, he's built programs. He's built, Cincinnati. He built them into a playoff contender. I mean, they made the playoff. So, yeah, I'm going C+. Don't have really much else to say. I think Wisconsin will continue to trend up. They really need to be good again for college football and for the Big Ten, which you, Will, said that you think's the best conference in the country. If Wisconsin's better too, that makes them even more of a heavyweight in this new sport. So your thoughts, Ralph? We'll actually go with you first. Luke Fickell, go Ralph. Take it away.
Yeah, I go C-. I thought after last year, what I thought they would be able to do this year or this past year was I had a higher standard for them. I thought they were at least a 7-win team, 8-win team. They got 7 wins, but it was a lackluster season. Bad game against Iowa. You were in there with Ohio State the whole game to the fourth quarter. Horrible game against Indiana and Northwestern and Washington State. Just games you probably should have had a better chance in scoring more points and hanging in there. Your offense just was lackluster. Tanner Mordecai was just not really the answer this year for you. He had a great game against LSU, I thought. I mean, that's not saying much with that defense.
No,
but I just was disappointed in Wisconsin, I think, all year long. Honestly, truly was. I just I watched about 2 games this year of them, honestly. But from what I saw, ESPN and on Sunday mornings, it's just it wasn't very much, to be excited for.
Ralph, certified ball knower. I only watched 2 games, but what I saw on ESPN, they looked all right. I love it.
Someone has to work on Saturdays. Sorry.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, look, you only lost to Ohio State by 2 scores. That's big. But then I feel like from what it makes it for me, Will, and I know you said, you might be a little bit higher, was if they could have come out and beat Indiana and Northwestern, right, coming off the Ohio State, that's for something to me. And look, we can talk about Northwestern. That might have been one of the better jobs done in 2023 as well.
No doubt.
I don't know. How do you feel on it?
Indiana's really bad loss because Indiana's really bad, really, really bad. I'm gonna go higher. I'm gonna go B-. Yeah, 7-6, not great. They start 4-1 and finish 3-5. They don't finish the year well at all. But Fickell, program builder, he's gonna get them going in the right direction. But he's doing things much differently, completely differently than they're used to going at Wisconsin. He's gonna open up the offense. He's gonna air it out. They're gonna run a spread. So he was contending with that, changing up the offense, bringing in new players. I thought he brought in Mordecai from SMU to play quarterback. Thought that was a great addition. I think he had some injury issues this year, but I'm gonna go B-.
He did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, battled injuries. I'm gonna go B-. You go 7-5, lose your bowl game against LSU, but you got off to a good start. But I like Luke Fickell a lot. So obviously some bias there, but I'm going to go B-.
Are you aware of who they brought in to be their safeties coach and co-DC?
Nope.
Alex Grinch. They brought him.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that.
And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Bob can fact check us here. I believe that Grinch and Fickell had some crossover when Fickell was at Ohio State. but I don't remember.
I believe they were on the same staff.
I believe they're on the same staff, but I might be wrong there.
I'll say this about Grinch. I think Grinch taking a step back and focusing on being a position coach is much better for him than being a defense coordinator. But being with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma and USC, that's asking a lot of your defensive coordinator. So I think he was really more of a victim of circumstance. But I think this job that he does at Wisconsin will be it'll show where his career is headed.
Yeah,
I think better than staying with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, if I'm a DC, I don't want to tie my name personally to Lincoln Riley. All right, let's get into honorable mentions real quick of the Power 5 or now Power 4 level. Northwestern's David Brohm. It was a disaster. I mean, guys, straight disaster under Pat Fitzgerald late into last summer, and they go 8-5. Their first bowl since 2020. They beat Utah, guys, and they doubled their win total from 2022. Nice job there. We don't really need to go into David Brohm, but good job. Zach Arnett, 50 feet of crap, and then there's Zach Arnett at Mississippi State. And then the guy just goes over to Oxford to be an analyst, which is just a wild concept, which is hilarious. So that happens. And then, I mean, I don't really care to talk about Troy Taylor and Stanford.
Me neither. 200 feet of crap, and then there's Stanford.
Stanford's so bad. But I'll tell you one thing. ACC golf is going to be unbelievable to watch. Unfreaking believable. If you look at the college golf rankings, it's going to be wild.
Here we go.
All right, honorable mentions in the group of 5. We're going to get to a couple, but I wanted to point these guys out. Tom Herman, great friend of the show, 4-8 in the first year. He lost his starting quarterback in game 2, I believe, of that season. And, man, just never could really recover. Coastal Carolina's Tim Beck. They took a step back, but Tim Beck, 8-5, not a bad job. Ralph's favorite, Biff, old Biff, 3-9.
Hey, shout out Biff Pokey.
Kent State might have been just one of the more affected programs by the coaching carousel. They lost Sean Lewis, who was guys, remember, Sean Lewis and Kent State played Georgia really, really well in 2022. And they went 1-11 this year, so not a good year.
Game won me a lot of money.
Good friend of the show, Matthew Bruni, North Texas, Eric Morris. They took a step back, 4-game losing streak there towards the end of the season that really hurt them. But let's get into some of the other ones. Trent Dill for another one. Let's talk right here. One of our standouts, a team that I feel like we all could think could be a dark horse to win, not just the American, but maybe just maybe find themselves in that, at large or that group of 5 spot in the playoff. Alex Golesh over at USF. Will, I know you like Golesh a lot and like what he's building down there in Tampa where you can win. Your thoughts?
I think surprised everybody. I mean, he took a program that had basically nothing and had a winning season, gave Alabama all they could handle, only losing 17-3. Crushed Syracuse in the Boca Raton Bowl, 45-0. I mean, two standout performances for them. I mean, this is a program that won 3 games in 2 years before he got there. And to get them in a bowl game and win it the way they did is incredible. Obviously, Golesh's background is offensive coordinator at Tennessee with Josh Heupel, so you knew he was going to have an explosive offense. Averaged over 35 points a game and 6 yards per play in conference. So very, very good year for Alex Golesh. I think he's in prime position to build on that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Will as well, and I really like that. AAC title hopes are obviously there for them. I mean, they got a quarterback that's really, really good, like you mentioned. And I know you kind of talked about this too, but they really Alabama was not Alabama, but they gave them a scare last year. Like that was a real scare, and it wasn't just like, oh, Alabama's playing. Like USF's good, and they got a solid program right there. So I'm very, very excited. Dr. Bob's put in his early prediction. 2024 AAC title game will be Tulane versus USF. We'll just stop right there and not talk anymore about them. Yep, we won't say anything. Jamie Chadwell was obviously a strong candidate to
a strong candidate to be selected at Georgia Tech. You don't believe that if you drink the Kool-Aid of certain people, but it is something interesting to me. Chadwell goes to Liberty and the system works, and Liberty's got money, and Liberty is this and that, and they make a New Year's Six bowl. Now they get beat, and I don't think that surprised anybody. I personally don't think they should have been the G5 representative. I think that Tulane and SMU were better teams, even though SMU beat. I think both Tulane and SMU would have beat them on a neutral field. That was just my personal opinion. So your thoughts on this as Blake Snell goes to the Giants. Good for him. Ralph, Jamie Chadwell at Liberty. It works. Chadwell's a good football coach. He's got a good system. And Liberty, I mean, they're going to dominate the Conference USA for the foreseeable future.
Absolutely. I mean, they run their conference. They will for the next few years. The competition there is just lackluster. It's
the transition conference of college football.
Right,
at this
and
point.
it's true. And they have one loss on the schedule this year, probably, and it's going to be App State. I truly believe them going to App State will be the hardest game they had to play this year. I thought Chadwell, you could go from Coastal to Liberty was a weird jump. I thought he could have gone higher and got to a bigger school. I think everyone thought that. I think everyone thought Georgia Tech was the landing spot, and then some people thought Auburn was the landing spot. It's just there's a lot of things that didn't go through, and we never knew why. And he has done so well at his first year at Liberty, and he's going to continue doing great things. He's got his quarterback back for another year, and why not? He's just going to go under. He'll have one loss in the conference, win the conference championship, and play in a good bowl game. That's what they're going to do. I'm
going to say this because I'll tell you why I didn't come to Georgia Tech. What Jamie Chadwell has shown you, and I don't know how this guys would fare if he was at a Power 4 program. I don't know. I can't make that assessment. But what he's shown you is that he has a scheme and he has a system. And when you let him bring his people to that new place and implement that scheme and system, the transition is much, much smoother. Liberty didn't miss a beat going from Hugh Freeze to Jamie Chadwell. That's why he didn't go to Georgia Tech. They wouldn't let him bring his staff. He wanted his staff over there, and they said no. So I'm not saying that as a knock against Brent Key and Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech made their right move and what they felt like they needed to do, but it just shows you that bringing your entire staff can work. Now, does it work at the ACC? Does it work in the Big 12, the SEC, and Big 10? I don't know. But when you have a unique scheme like Chadwell does down, over there, it pays off to have those guys. That's all they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to go and hire a new OC. Will, do you have any thoughts on Chadwell before we kind of move on to our last one?
Not really. Great year. Like you said, it works. I think y'all kind of covered it, but I disagree with Ralph. They have at least 2 losses on their schedule because they have friend of the program, Kennesaw State, on the schedule. They got to come down to Kennesaw.
Hootie-hoo.
They got to come down here and play the Owls.
Brian Bohannon.
Better bring it. Chadwell.
Well, I saw it on the schedule. Don't worry.
Maybe we'll go to that game. I don't know.
I don't think we will. $300 for tickets right now.
Oh, that'll come down. Don't you worry. Don't you worry.
It's as low as $294.
Don't you worry.
This is interesting. I've always thought Liberty should get an ACC invite. Now the only thing I would say against that is would Virginia and Virginia Tech veto that as the state schools up there?
Absolutely, it would.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Be interesting. All right, final one of the evening. We appreciate you. Look, hey, 200 people watching live. We appreciate that. That's phenomenal. Here on the live show. Thanks so much for watching on Twitter. Guys have been, I don't know what it is. People have been crushing it on the Twitter views, and we appreciate that. And as soon as that happens, it goes right down to 197. That's okay.
What you get for saying it.
Ralph, you can get off work for that game. I already told your boss. There we go. All right, final one of the evening.
We got 2 left. What do you mean?
Oh, 2 more. Okay. Barry Odum. Guys, what a job. UNLV played for a Mountain West title. Barry Odum, a guy that had been the head coach at Missouri, was at what I believe Arkansas. Am I right in saying that? Was correct. The DC at Arkansas, gets the job out there at UNLV. Kind of feels like one of the next guys to maybe make the jump back into that Power 4 ranks if he wants to. Good job from Odum.
Arkansas might be open. He can go back to Arkansas.
Arkansas might be open according to Will.
Or does Arkansas run it back with another former coach?
Will, are we just going to do a live show next weekend of like your wish list of coaches? Like, is Barry Odom on that wish list at Auburn? Would you like that?
No.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
not at all. Not at
good
all.
season. Good season for UNLV.
Yeah,
good
absolutely.
season for them. Any final thoughts on this?
Best record since 1984. First bowl game since 2013. I think that's all can be said. A plus.
They ruined our over for the Vanderbilt season when they beat Vanderbilt by
That hurt.
3.
That
hurt
hurt
everybody.
Yeah,
so.
that hurt. Yeah, and Dr. Bob says there once again that Barry Odom gets an honorable mention for playing a small role in the Harbaugh Spygate saga. Is Ralph a union driver, a teamster?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Also, borderline arsonist in his free time. We'll keep it rolling. Now, the final name of the show. This was one of Will's picks of the week to watch. Texas State and ULM, TJ Finley, LSU and Auburn legend lit it up over there in San Marcos.
Who y'all? I told Jonesy all week during the season, you need to start listening to me because you and I got
on a heater. You got on a heater.
That game, the final 6 minutes of that game was just utter chaos. Such a fun game. GJ Kinne, fun at Texas State. I think that's the best way to describe it. Had the number 1 scoring offense in the Sun Belt, 36 points a game. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Ralph. There was Texas State's best season at the FBS level. First bowl game, first time over 500 in the Sun Belt. And they've been in the Sun Belt since 2014. So GJ Kinne, they're going to be fun to watch. I mean, he made TJ Finley look like a. What is this? Well,
put that in your pipe and
you know what?
Will.
You know what? I'll take that. I deserve that. I came at him and you came
guns
back.
blazing and just make sure there's no matches around. The only thing Texas State's got to figure out their quarterback situation. If you paid attention to the headlines, absolutely nuts. Just a wild, crazy situation.
They'll beat Troy next year. 100%.
With that,
he made TJ Finley look like a good quarterback.
Former coach at Incarnate Word, home of another former Auburn quarterback, and
that is correct. Who never played a down for Auburn.
They had a solid team last year. I think their defense really lost them a lot more games than they should have. It hurt them a lot. I mean, when Troy played, Troy's offense was good, but should not have lit them up like they did. I thought Gunner played extremely well that game, but their defense was lackluster. I mean, I'm serious. I mean, I know.
Did you eat lunch with a guy on Friday before? I mean, you on a first name basis with the guy? What is that?
I mean, look, I played against him in high school. Went to college with them. I mean, it's not like I didn't know people. It's a small school, dude. There's 7,000 students there. That's a normal incoming class that's way less than an incoming class at a Power 5 school. So, maybe average.
Close. We had 2,100 people at Barry. That was it.
Your campus is also like spans of 12 miles, so
over 20,000. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
it's massive.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to end it here, and this is where we'll end the show. Thanks so much for watching. Last year, we got our list from CBS Sports. They kind of listed out everything, and there were only 2 coaches that outplayed their grades from last year when they kind of redid some rankings. And this is going to hit home very well for both of these guys. One of them, John Sumrall, obviously outplayed his expectations. Ralph, that's okay to say. He was better in 2023 than he was in 2022. Troy had a great season. The other one is Jerry Kill, which is going to, hit close to home for Will and for our show. So I wanted to be able to throw that tidbit in there as well.
Throwing shit at Troy.
Blake Snell, 5-year, $62 million contract. Cannot wait for him to walk people out there in San Fran.
Hold on. Let me change it.
It's 2 year.
Here we go.
2 years. Two years, $62 million. 2 years.
1 year too long.
I mean, what an overpay. But Jerry Kill, he's going to go to Vanderbilt. Him and Diego, the offensive coordinator there. I forget his name.
Like the 4th of July.
Vandy looked at their schedule and said, "Hey, we got Auburn. Let's go get the guys that beat them last year, and then maybe they can teach us how to beat them." Smart, Clark Lee, very smart.
That's awesome.
I respect it.
Hey, just kind of end it with some casual conversation. Big week down here in Baton Rouge. We got baseball tomorrow. Wednesday we got spring football. Thursday we got spring football. Tomorrow night NIT game, which I will not be going to.
LSU accepted an invite to the NIT.
Yeah, they needed to. They needed to.
Ole
Miss didn't. So LSU and Georgia are going to the NIT. Yeah.
So the nightmare that is LSU men's basketball is not over.
Well, I don't have to watch it. That's all I know. I'm going to go to baseball. And then women's basketball, which is going to be fun. That's all I'm going to say. This weekend
the first games will be wild.
Yeah, they can't
Kim
lose.
Mulkey going to fight somebody? Is she going to throw hands?
Kim Mulkey gets so much unbelievable hate. I don't understand it. Like I genuinely don't care. And then, man, massive baseball series this weekend. Rematch of the College World Series finals. The Gators come to town. So that's going to be fun. Hey, a big sweep by the Jackets. They swept number 13 NC State this weekend. That kid from Warner Robins just keeps blasting the ball out of the ballpark. We would love to have him. After that, losing viewers talking about this. Did they put out the players? Did they bail out the players who did the punches? Jesus. That's all I got.
If we want to mention SEC baseball, don't ask me about Auburn.
Hey, but big weekend hoops, man. I will tell you. Oh, we got to do this. Link down below, okay? Link down below. If you're on Twitter watching this, we're going to tweet it out right after the show. Join our crowded booth bracket. The top 3 finishers are going to earn prizes of our choice. And so it's going to be gift cards of different, oh my gosh. It's going to be just different prizes that we would love for you to join. So click the link. It's going to be down in the link below on YouTube. You can join our Discord as well. We talk about it. And then also, we're going to post it from our Twitter accounts as well. Top 3 are going to win prizes. And Dr. Bob says the crowded booth bracket challenge. Will, I've already put in Auburn. Auburn's my national champion. That's how good I feel about it. So, hey, we appreciate you. We appreciate you.
Auburn's not even getting Auburn's round of 32 and going home.
Losing to San Diego State. McNeese State, I got them almost in the Sweet 16.
Okay, first of all, a top 5 team in the country. Okay, Auburn. Talk about Auburn being screwed. UConn got screwed even more. If they're the number 1 overall seed, they got Iowa State
UConn is
and
unbelievable. Auburn. UConn is the most confidence I have in a number 1 seed.
Yes.
Like they are unbelievable.
Iowa State and Auburn, who are scorching coming into the tournament in the same bracket, same region.
Where you got Sanford though? Buckyball is alive and well, ladies and gentlemen, and they're going to pose a problem.
They get screwed. They
play Kansas.
Oh yeah.
I mean, dude, like it's not. Look, the SoCon has showed out the past couple of years. Furman won a round 1 game last year.
What a terrific run!
I mean, I don't know if you've heard Mercer beat Duke back in 2014. Legendary stuff. They nay-nayed afterwards. And it was there. And this is big. Kansas is riddled with injuries. And you got Buckyball, literally a high school basketball coach from across the street at Homewood High School there in Birmingham, out in Homewood, Alabama, made the 5-second drive over and has turned them into a contender.
I got an upset that could possibly happen.
Okay.
St. Peter's, remember them 2 years ago when they made the run? To the
I almost just said something, and I should have said it. Their coach looked like an Oompa Loompa last year.
Yeah,
he did.
Remember the run they made in 2022? They beat, yeah. Well, they're playing Tennessee first round.
Ooh.
Good old Rocky Top.
Regular season Rick.
Hey, if Dalton Connect can't shoot, it's over for them.
Rick Barnes, regular season Rick.
Mountain Brook. I apologize.
Bryce don't know ball.
That's true.
I don't know high school ball in the Birmingham area. I'm sorry. In the 205.
I'd hope not.
We appreciate it. Thanks so much. Ralph Leary, Will Manis, my name is Bryce Koon, talking college football here on a Monday night. No live show tomorrow talking about Georgia Tech.
won't be able to do it. If you are involved in the Crowded Booth Fantasy Baseball League, we have our draft tomorrow night, so make sure you check that out. And once again, the Crowded Booth Bracket Challenge, click the link down below here on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, we are going to tweet it out right after this show is over. And get those picks in, man. Top 3 are going to win prizes, and we got some cool ones for you. We'll catch you next time here on the Crowded Booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. The Crowded Booth is coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Koon.